welcome to Somewhere in October. I'm Alex, and we are talking about the VHS franchise. I'm going through each movie and ranking the segments in anticipation for the new release, and then I'll do like a master ranking, that kind of thing. So today we're talking about VHS 99. This is after 94, which is a little bit of a resurgence because there was quite a few years in between. And how this works, it's gonna have a lot of spoilers. I'm going to give you my overall thoughts of the movie itself or the installment, and then rank each segment. So let's get into it. So VHS 99, I believe, is the first one that doesn't have a frame narrative. They do have stop motion playing with like those little army green toys. That's what they're playing with. So there is nostalgia, but I do prefer when there's a frame narrative. If you are going to have something in between and it not actually be a story, I prefer like how they kind of play around with infomercials sometimes, or just like old VHS commercials or screens. I would prefer that because it just, I don't know, I didn't like that. And there are 5 segments in this. I had a hard time falling in love with any of them. There are some things that I liked for sure, but like Viral, I think this is definitely a weaker one in the jury, but that's okay. Like I said, it happens. Not all of them can be winners, but there are some gems in here as usual, so let's get into ranking. The frame narrative, since it doesn't exist, I usually include in the ranking, but this will just be 5 complete shorts. Number 5, or the one I like the least, is Ozzy's Dungeon. It was written by Zoe Cooper and Flying Lotus and directed by Flying Lotus. We are basically following a game show for kids. These kids do an obstacle course and there's a host. The game is, if you win, you get your wish, whatever your wish is, which is a crazy prize to give away. I feel like one person could wish for Play-Doh and the other one could wish for $1 million. Like, I think you should just have a prize. And the host is unbearable right off the bat. And he does such a good job acting because I'm like, you suck. Although I didn't like this story, and we'll kind of get into why and the journey through it, I do think there's some great commentary because we're talking 99, so the year 99. And when you look back on that time, all the shows and all the child stars growing up about how they've been mistreated, and there hasn't really been any regulation about that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a VHS down the road that's about like family vloggers, because that's how it feels. It's kind of the same thing. It was the Wild Wild West, and you sign a waiver and they're like, okay, anything can happen to you. No, I think you should still take measures to make sure nothing happens to them. So this game show in particular, it reminds me of Wipeout because it's like an obstacle course, and Fear Factor because it's a little bit scary, a little bit weird. This young girl gets picked and she's just a little sweetheart. Her parents are, egging her on like, you got this. She drove all the way there. The host makes a weird comment basically being like, you had to drive, you couldn't fly, you couldn't afford to fly. I was like, screw you, buddy. She is competing and she's going through one of the things and she snaps her knee or her leg. And I mean, it is a gruesome snap. It's one of those snaps where you're like, oh my God. And they rewind and replay it, rewind and replay it. And everybody is begging, like the family's like, please stop the game. And the child is like, please stop it. Please stop. I need help. And they are just ignoring her. It's like, it's good TV. It's the risk you take. You signed the waiver. I thought it was all going to take place on this game show, which I think could have been a cool concept in itself. But we then switched to the family that was harmed. So the mother and father and brother, and of course the little girl. They're grown up. Time has passed. Not completely grown up, but like enough that enough time has passed. And it reveals the host in a cage. And they were basically playing this. My first issue with this is, why are they filming it? Like, this is a crime. I don't really know why you're filming it. And they make him do like a really gross version of the set. Like, they made a mimic set. I kind of get it because they ruined the child's life. It was basically a gimmick. They were never going to get what they deserved. They did research into like how many people actually get their prize. Their lives were changed for it. So they wanted revenge. So it starts with this like revenge story, and they're going to pour acid on him and burn his face, I think, which is crazy. Like, why are you filming this? And he says, wait, I can get you whatever you want. I can get you the prize. And they go back to the original set and they go through this cave. The young girl asks for her wish, which we don't hear. We have this person lid on like a stone. Like, it looks very ritualistic. And an alien creature bursts out of the belly, which was very much giving me The Thing, but not enough for me to really enjoy it. And it just ends with it being chaos. This one just felt so disjointed and random. I think I would have liked it better if we actually just went through how gruesome these obstacles could be and show different examples, and then maybe there's, like, pressure from the network, like, "You have to give a prize, you have to give a prize." So they let someone win, and then the win reveal is you're basically, like, trading your soul or it's some kinda ritual thing. That, I think I would've responded to better. This was just kinda all over the place for me, and there wasn't a moment that I liked what was happening. It was very uncomfortable. The beginning, I liked the concept. Everything else was just, "What am I watching?" The next one is The Gawkers. This is directed by Tyler McIntyre and written by Tyler and Chris Lee Hill. I didn't get this, but apparently The Gawkers actually ties into the Frame narrative because it was his brother who was filming the stop motion, and then he took the camera for this. I didn't get that. If I missed that, oops, my bad. And there is a stop motion segment that kind of feels like a reference or like a hat off to Ratma, which is interesting. But okay, so this older brother takes the camera. There's a bunch of boys, they're teenage boys, and they are the epitome of a stereotype of a imaginative teenage boy, a gross teenage boy. They're obsessed with girls, they're obsessed with getting girls. They have their camera and they're spying on women. I will say all of this gross buildup, which is very reminiscent of the first VHS, does have some commentary and payoff. It's called The Gawkers. There's a Medusa twist in this. If you know the story of Medusa and kind of what that really symbolizes to women these days, and maybe of all time, but I know especially like these days, it kind of does all connect and pay off, but not enough for me. So they're gawking at this next door neighbor. And while they're gawking and spying and being really gross, the little brother is going to help her install a webcam. And they convince him to hack into it so they can watch her. I hated it. And he does feel guilty, but like, don't do that. As they're watching her, they're like, oh, it's shower time. She rips off, like, they think she's taking off a wig, and she just rips off her top of her skull, and then the snakes come out. I did like that reveal. I didn't love how the Medusa looked. And obviously I get like budget, like these are shorts, I understand, but it just didn't win me over. Medusa can be a very scary thing, and I would have liked it to be a little bit creepier. So she basically jumps on the roof, busts in the house, turns into stone and kills them. And I'm saying it so like that, like so whimsically, because it happens so quickly that you don't get to really enjoy or sit in it. And so it's just a lot of buildup of gross boys and then revenge on them, but they're also young kids, so you can't help but feel bad. So it just doesn't work for me. I think the concept is really cool. I think making that reference to Medusa, having her be a creature and get revenge on people who are being disgusting to women works as a concept. I just didn't like it. Then coming at number 3, this is when I'm starting to like it a little bit more. I like the vibes of this one, but again with the payoff, I don't feel like I'm getting enough payoff, and I think I'm really spoiled from things like Safe Haven, Ride in the Park, Ratma, The Subject. Like, I'm really used to getting a really big payoff, and sometimes it doesn't get me. The payoff on this one is pretty good, but for reasons I'll explain, it doesn't win me over. So this one is Shredding. And this is written and directed by Maggie Levin. So this is about a band. They're friends and they're a band, and they are very punk adjacent, maybe fully punk. Some of them not. It's, you know, they are, who they're trying to be. And so I like the style. It's very reminiscent. It's very music-based, so you just feel transported back to, like, MTV. They tell the story about a warehouse where this band named Bitch Cat, so cool, played. And, like, they were an indie up-and-coming band, and they love this place because they love the community that shows up for them. They would always play there. They had found footage that really introduced them to us, so we also got to know them, which is really cool. But a fire broke out, and, like, between trying to escape and a stampede, they all died. It was a tragedy. So their plan is to break in here and play a set, and I think film it, I guess, for publicity, you know, to put out there, virality, I guess. Can you go viral in 99? No, I don't know. I was 4. Don't ask me. They have a friend who is of a different culture. There's definitely some weird undertones of what they're saying, which I don't really like. And I don't think his character gets the redemption it deserves for putting up with that or for us having to hear it. But he has his own, you know, beliefs and protections about ghosts and spirits. So he's a little bit on edge. He's not really sure he wants to do this. He's a little freaked out. I am getting interested in the build-up because they're going there. It's really freaky. And they make you think that the band stuff was set up by them, like it was a big spooky ghost, but they actually snuck in and set it up to scare their friend. We hear some things, we hear some noises, people are being pulled, and you're like, what is going on? When they start playing, like they start performing, practicing, maybe they're filming, the drummer who they keep picking on, they're playing, and all of a sudden they just kind of like freeze and they're like glitching. It was a fake out, another prank on him. I honestly thought that would have been a really cool place to start. I actually really like that, but again, it was a prank, so you're like, another one? And then he leaves. He's like, I'm done with you guys, and he's trying to get out. He doesn't get out, so I don't know if he decides to go back or he just can't get out, but he does end up stuck down there. They have these blow-up dolls that they dressed like this band, and they must have them filled with blood or something, because they start beating them on tape, and it looks like they're actually beating them, and I'm like, this is insane. Like, this isn't punk at this point. This is just, what are you doing? They get their comeuppance, because all of a sudden, snatched. Someone is snatched. And the bitch cats have arrived. Can I say that on YouTube? I'm gonna. So they arrive, and they are like these burnt zombies. And in the found footage, they do this thing where they like chant and look down at the camera, and they do that again as zombies, which I think is really cool. My only complaint here is there is some great gore, there is some great, like, they look terrifying. I am scared. I don't know if it's what I watched it on or if it is just really dark. Sometimes it's hard to see. But what I did like about this is they tore one of the people apart and they were looking at their body parts, and I was like, why are they just looking at them? Like, what are you doing with that? But there's a really great reveal at the end is they spliced everybody together and played them on stage like puppets. Like, it was kind of in Dusk Till Dawn. If you haven't seen it, quick spoiler, skip ahead like 10 seconds. They play instruments made out of human body parts. It kind of felt like a nod to that. So that was really cool. My only thing is when the drummer got taken out, I was rooting for him. I think he should have been the final, or maybe survived or had to watch them play, or they spared him or something, because he wasn't involved. I think he needed a little bit more of a redemption to his story, but I did like it. I just wasn't crazy about it. So my second favorite, which use favorite lightly because I did enjoy it, but it's not a favorite of the franchise, is To Hell and Back. So this is written and directed by Vanessa and Joseph Winter. One thing about this that I wish they kind of leaned more into is there is some commentary on the millennia. Like, I think people thought the world was going to end in the year 2000, which I guess it's giving 2012. It's like sprinkled in, like in the Medusa one, the Gawkers, they mention it. And in this one, it's definitely a part of it. I wish all of them really leaned into that. But anyway, there's a ritual happening. These two guys, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they are actually a part of it or if they're just curious and they want to like get a documentary of it. But there's a coven. And they have a woman strapped to a table, and she's going to be the vessel, and she's so excited to give her body to summon a demon. Okay, this is not like they're, this is not someone's going to come save them. It's just part of the millennia that they can summon this demon, I guess. Whatever they're trying to do. And maybe it's like a better demon than the other demons. I don't know. But we have these two guys. I don't know what they're doing there. And this is where it sets the tone. This is so goofy and silly, and it works. I think they are so funny. For film footage, like, sometimes you can feel like this is a character. This really feels like these guys got into something and they're like, where are we? What did we do? As they're trying to summon who they're trying to summon into the vessel, they say another name, like someone else is trying to get in. And they're like, oh, they're not invited, get them out. The jump scare when it came out from under the table got me. This little freaky looking thing comes out of the table and grabs both of the guys and pulls them under. And they end up going into like hell. I don't know if it is the hell or a hell, but it is giving Lord of the Rings. And I want to know how they filmed this. It was really cool. But there's like these gargoyle type creatures, these big haunting silhouettes, weird creature design, which is really cool and really freaky. But they meet this girl who, her name is Mabel, and she's giving Smeagol in the best way. And she's like, oh, I can help you. Just write my name in the book. I can help you. I love her, okay? The funniest part about this is these guys are like, ah, I almost stepped in that bear trap. And then he looks and he had his hand in one or something. He goes, ah. Like, they are just being so silly. And another one of the guys has on his little New Year's Eve party hat the whole time, in over their heads. They're like, we need to get out. They're on a timer because, like, the New Year's countdown. And she's like, I will get you to where you need to go. to help you get back. And so they are running and trying to get there. There is chaos, there are monsters, it is bloody, it is weird, and there's one point where the two guys are kind of arguing, like, you don't have my back, like, I can't count on you. That kind of energy. They definitely meant to reference Lord of the Rings because there's also one part where they crawl through spider webs. And if you've seen Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, like, you know, it's giving. And there's two guys and kind of not fit for this journey, but they take it and then they save each other and it's so important. Anyway, I do like at the end, they pick up some weapons and they really go to bat for each other. They protect each other, even when one of them says, go on, like, leave me here, you have to go back. So we have this, like, really big buildup and this, like, action-y fantasy world, and you are rooting for them. And then when they, you know, they kill everything and they succeed and you're cheering for them and it's so silly, they come back. But what happens? One of them is in the vessel and the other one is, like, switched bodies. And so I guess the coven thinks that they are more uninvited, so they kill them. But what I love is it ends while he's bloody and dying. He writes Mabel's name in blood in the book. I just think this story was very well rounded and it was so weird and out there. I don't think I would have bought into it if it was too serious. But because these guys were clearly like, we do not know what we are doing, Mabel, save us, I loved it. Coming in at number 1, and I did really like this one. I don't think I can say this word on YouTube, so S-bid. You know, killing your own bid. Written and directed by Johannes Roberts. Why do I feel like that's an easy name to say and I can't say it? When it first starts, I'm not interested. I don't think we have sororities in Canada. If we do, correct me. We definitely don't where I'm from. And if we do, I don't know about them. But every kind of media I see with sororities, and I don't know if it's accurate or not, I just think it's the worst representation of girls. I do agree that girls can be horrible and catty and mean and manipulative, but the sorority just has that little bit of extra, I don't like this, so I can't get invested. So I was a little bit off-put. But when there's that character, a trope, or a stereotype that I really don't like, but the movie or short or whatever it is convinces me that, hey, you should just give more things a try and see if they can use it effectively. And this one for me did. So we have this girl, Lily. And where this title comes from is, I guess when you go, you can pledge or try to get into multiple sororities, and then whoever picks you is who you go with. If you only pledge to one and you don't get in, you're not in a sorority. So it's considered an S-word bid. And so she's doing this. She's really mean to her friend, and she's on the camera like, I really, like, we're soul sisters, we're sisters for life, whatever she says. And I'm like, do you really want to be in this bed? And then we cut to she's in. They're, like, initiating her, hazing her. She's really drunk, and they take her to a graveyard. This is a crazy haze, but I will say, even from personal experience, I know that hazing gets to points that are incredibly dangerous, incredibly inappropriate. I don't know why. What are you doing? What are you doing? So they have this urban legend about this girl named Guillotine. And apparently Guillotine was a member of the sorority, and it was a similar hazing where she had to be buried alive, but they left her for a week. So when that happened and they opened up the casket, they said she crawled down to hell. Whatever it is, I do like the feeling of an urban legend. You know, you get the vibes that they're saying this to freak them out, but I still think burying someone alive in a coffin for a hazing prank is incredibly irresponsible, even if they're not completely burying her. We see how that can go terribly wrong. And they give her this box and they're like, if you ever get scared, open this box, it'll help you. And they give her a bell to ring. But I think it's like if she backs out too early, she doesn't get initiated or whatever. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it in real life. Story-wise, it works. So she gets in this coffin and it is incredibly claustrophobic. I am incredibly uncomfortable. It is spooky. And she's in there and she's getting really uncomfortable. She's getting really freaked out. She is also talking to the video camera, like talking shit on her friend from earlier, being like, you just want to be like me. You just want to be like me. Which I do think some of the tropes in this are accurate for what girls go through because they try not to find themselves. They try to impress other people. And you turn into a little monster. I was definitely a little monster for most of my life, okay? So hindsight's 20/20, so I'll forgive. And she does come around because later she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna die. But she's in there and she's getting really nervous and starting to freak out. So she opens up the box that they gave her that was like, this will help you. Spiders. You guys are the devil. Spiders. Devil children. So she's in there and they're big spiders and she's squishing them and it is gooey and gross. And again, I am claustrophobic. And then somebody comes to, I guess, check on the disturbance. And they're like, oh, we can't get in trouble. Like, we'll get in so much trouble. So they run away. And then it starts raining. And they were kind of like, we shouldn't leave her in there. But they're like, we don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to get expelled. And so they leave her there. And the police, who are like, oh, it's miserable out. Let's not investigate this. You little... Anyway. So she's in there, and as the rain is coming down, it starts dripping into the casket, and I am just freaking out. Even how it's filmed, like, she just lit, and, like, she looks at the camera sometimes. The water is dripping down. It is so, so scary. And then we hear kind of, like, knocking. Like, there's something weird going on. She's ringing the bell, but there's nobody there to hear it. We get a glimpse at this little, like, cross cutout that is in the casket. It's a little bit clear. We see Guillotine. I think I'm saying her name right. If I'm not, go with me. She's there, and she disappears. This is when the jump scare got me, because she's in the casket, and she's just up in her face, and I'm like, this is the most claustrophobic I have ever been in my life. And it's just so, like, I love when a movie can make me feel like I'm in a smaller room than I am. And it basically cuts. We don't actually see what happens. Like, we do see her being tortured and gripped, and like she was going to be taken over. So of course we assume that she's dead in there. And then the most unrealistic thing for me happens. The girls come back the next day, and all the rain, the grave is filled with mud. And the girls don't even take off their jackets before they jump in and check it out. They weren't jumping in with urgency, especially the second girl. I would take off my jacket. But they dive down, they're like, she's not in there. She's not in there. And they're like, what do we do? And again, just like they were at the grave site, we don't tell anybody about this. We can't get in trouble. Our lives and our potential, our image is more important. You sickos. They get their comeuppance because they wake up all in their own coffins. And it is Lily. I don't understand exactly what's going to happen here, but she said she made a deal with Guillotine that if she brought her sorority sisters, she would leave her or set her free. I don't know if that means that she just doesn't go to hell, or if she's actually going to be alive, or she will also be a spirit. I don't know exactly what that means. But either way, she was like, I'm making a deal. I'm making a deal because I don't want to die. I don't want whatever's going to bad happen. I don't want that. It is freaky, and it is revenge in a very strange and freaky way. Guillotine and Annie kind of teaming up, and then she does reference a line that she made earlier when she was filming her, like, tape, her audition, I don't know what it's called. We're sisters now, we're soul sisters, or soul sisters forever. And it ends with her saying that. And I think that was really great, and I really liked it. This was kind of like Viral, where there are ones that I liked, there are elements that I liked in others, but none of them I'm crazy about. So this is not one that I would necessarily rewatch. So let me know what you think, and I will see you when I talk about VHS 85 and then beyond, and then I will circle back when Halloween comes out. Okay, see you in the next one.